So it's time to get the babies ready for the cold that's coming for the next couple of days. And this is pretty early for us to have cold in December. And then I have a cold too, if you can't tell from my voice. And so making sure to water everything deeply, because in a couple of hours we're going to drop pretty fast, and it's going to be 27 tonight, 27 tomorrow, 30 the next night, and then 35 the following night. So we've got 4 days in a row. But it's a lot of work to do tonight to get everything all covered and nice and happy in their blankies and jackets. So, but I still have more watering to do before we can do that. It's hard to believe it's gonna be 27 tonight. So pretty out right now. Gotta get covered up. So it's been cold the last couple of days, and it's time to do the unveiling of all of the beautiful plants and see how everything's doing. Of course, we kept the stuff long, so because we knew the top of it would be fried, and I usually don't trim until end of March, but it's so early and we're gonna have a long worm stint that it's going to start growing either way. So I will do a little bit of pruning. I just won't do any deep pruning unless I really want to. So it's time to let the babies out. Okay, I'm not super happy about what I see, but it'll all be all right. The angel trumpet is definitely not happy, so we'll want to prune away anything gushy. So any of these younger type branches are gushy. We'll just take those right off, but they are fast growers, so they'll be all right. And this Birds of Paradise looks pretty good, but this was the top of the blanket, so where the cold hit it. That's not happy. So another angel trumpet. The oyster plants got a little bit of it, but they'll be all right. They'll pop back. This is better than last year. Now this part was sticking out, but because this is succulent, it's like all of these areas will get gushy pretty fast. So I'll just trim that on down and it'll get all right. I was trying to protect these pretty leaves of the birds of the paradise, but so I have a little bit of frying here, but most things did okay down low. Of course, all of the fry for the powder puff is up high, but I can trim that back. That will grow fast this year, but I don't want to trim that back too much because if we do have another cold snap, that is a friend to everything else. We can trim back this variegated hibiscus here, but you can see underneath it's just fine. It's just the top parts. Yeah, we'll trim that back. Now these were not covered up at all because they're closer to the house. So our bougainvillea will come back fast. I wasn't super worried about those, only so much I can do. But I will go ahead and trim those up some. But these shrimp plant did better than I thought that they would. This is a hibiscus that gets a very colorful flower. It was not happy and the rubber plant was not happy. This rubber plant, that could die back some. It'll grow, but it's a slow grower. So I try to protect it. But we'll see. And those oyster plants don't look so hot. Of course, lost the tip to my aloe. I'll grow more. The mother of thousands, some of them did okay. Some of these did okay. And then, so I was able, I don't know if my pretty flowers will make it or not. We'll have to see if they bounce back. But other ones, those probably will not make it. Those will gush away, die out. Palm tree is a little burnt, even though it was covered. It still kind of had a opening over here because one of the cloths that I'll be throwing away had dry rot because it was in a closed container and it didn't have enough air. So it's better to keep it in like a laundry basket or something where it can breathe for the rest of the year. My cordyline, a little bit burnt, but I kind of think these will all make it. If not, the tops will die and they'll grow back. Like you can see from last year, the top died and then two came out. So it just stinks for a little while and then they come back. And then of course, if you start to tell it happens before it kind of goes downwards, you can also try to propagate from them. I'm really glad that my bromeliad looks kind of okay. This part got burnt, but that's a nice and more expensive bromeliad. So all in all, top of the cassia is burnt, but I'm going to trim this back a lot in the spring anyways. The fire stick got burnt just at the tips. And then I also had a heavier cloth over here because it kept on, the wind was whipping around and taking it off. So the tips of the fire stick got burnt. And of course the fire stick is called that because the juices inside will burn you. So when I trim this, everybody has to stay away because the milk in it will really burn your skin. But it will be just fine. I'll have to trim that back though. The shrimp plant in here is not too happy. So he might die back a little bit. And the philodendron underneath and around, everything did all right, except for the new growth. The new growth didn't make it. So this side we've got the grape leaves, of course, will fall off where they got burned, but then they'll grow back pretty quickly. I was hoping these hibiscus would be a little more protected, but it was a really long and we had a hard freeze. Its friend here, that's here to help it during its time, did its job though, because the hibiscus flowers our leaves right around it look nice and happy, but the ones further out don't. So let's see here. This vinca, part of it did all right and part of it didn't, but that little baby angel trumpet did pretty good. And we'll trim back this part of the croton. That part's not good, but the rest of it's great and crisp, nice. Same with these hibiscus over here. I'll just trim back these a little bit. They'll actually grow in fuller, but they look great right around their Simpson stopper friend. This Birds of Paradise looks great. The sea grape kind of helped protect the roses, so the roses look pretty decent. A lot of the roses are hardy, but these more fragile ones can die down if they're not covered well. I did not wrap this place at all because it has this nice, okay buddy, it has this nice big oak here to protect it. So I didn't do anything here. And you see it's just a little burnt there. And then the shrimp plant wasn't that happy. But other than that, everything else was fine. I did not cover here, and part of it did okay, bougainvillea, and part of it didn't. But look at this. The aloe and the aloe flower looks just fine. So that shows me that the flower just didn't want to be suppressed by a covering. So I'll know to just leave those guys out. They'll be all right even in a hard freeze. Although this is still a little bit protected by this oak tree. So that might not be the case if it's in the wide open. This just had a topper on it, this purple princess or tibicina, but it looks pretty good other than the flowers being ruffled. Looks pretty good. Bottle brush is hardy. And this cassia, I had already trimmed it back from the tropical storm. That looks great. This little purple orchid or Hong Kong tree was already turning this way. It wasn't super happy anyways with the heat. So, gosh, what is this called? Fire spit? This one, I'm glad I covered it, but the top did get a little fried. But I'm glad I covered it because I might have lost it. I'm super happy about this guy because I don't even know how many leaves he'll lose because it's over here near the porch, the back screenery. So I think I got enough heat from the house that it did okay. And down here was covered up. And all of the bromeliads look nice and happy. That looks happy. So I am enjoying that all of these look good. But let's do a reveal of the monstera. It looked like one of the sheets blew off of one side. But let's see how it did under the sheet. Because last year, which was not as long of a cold snap, I basically lost every leaf and had to wait all year for it to grow back, which it will do. All right. It does not look that bad. So we'll have to trim away the dark ones. That one's kind of spotted. Any of them even spotted, I'll lose those. They'll slowly turn. I can leave them for a little while if I want. But I didn't lose all of them. That's not bad either. Everybody did pretty good over here. Needs to be trimmed up now anyways, because we have some pretty things hiding. What's this? There's some pretty things hiding down here. But I like to use the variegated ginger as I cut them and put them in vases inside because they last a long time. So I kind of left them for that. This one I can't because the ducks chewed on it. This one I usually don't cover at all, but for 4 days, I think it ended up being 5 of cold, and we had 2 hard freezes. I went ahead and covered it, and I'm really glad I did. I have some burning that I can see here on the variegated pothos. It'll be fine, but I'll lose those pretty leaves. And the mammy croton here, some of the leaves look a little upset at me, but let's see how the rest of it did. So again, this needs to be weeded out anyways, but those baby cordylines look pretty good that I propagated. Glad these got covered because I can see that they are, hi Levi, hi, sweet boy. The burning bush, a couple of those got a little burnt. It'll be okay. And again, I need to weed out or trim up some of this variegated ginger because I have some other things growing, some pups growing from this bromeliad here. And you can see that got a little burnt. Couldn't do much about my bromeliad growing in the tree. We're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. This one looks fine. All right, so the elephant ears got a little bit creamed. They should bounce back, hopefully. I hear you, ducks. I hear you up here where you're not supposed to be. Now this kept getting blown off. It's just regular sheets. I was down to regular sheets. So these roses are probably not happy with being covered up. Because they're regular sheets, I couldn't clip them down as easily. Well, the sheet grew off of these beautiful cordyline, so they're not as bright pink anymore. Hopefully they'll be okay. This one kind of concerns me. And then we'll have to trim back these elephant ears, and hopefully the big ones will be okay. I see your mess too. Hi, John and Bon. Now this is covered with the leaves, but this camellia doesn't look super happy.
That part.
That looks all right.
That dead spot right
yeah,
there.
We'll have to trim up some of those.
And that.
Yeah.
That part.
The blue days got a little burnt around the edges. And this is not happy, but I think it's fine and it's fast grower. So, is that Vernium?
That really felt good.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day. It feels nice out.
Yeah.
The Hong Kong tree or purple orchid tree got a little fried, and I wasn't happy about that because this is the time it blooms. Saw the little buds on there got fried. Nope.
You said baby.
Uh-oh. And this is my lobster claw heliconia. Poo. It'll be okay. But I'm so excited about it. I didn't want anything to happen with it. Those Hawaiian tea or cordyline look great. We've got some frying here, but the underbrush is great because it has the tabebulia up there to help cover it. And I did not think that this big old philodendron would do as great, but it was so big I couldn't cover it. Only the new growth got burnt. got a lot of trimming to do on this side. This got a lot of burn, a whole lot of burn. Everything's good underneath, so if you look underneath here, it's all happy. So from the bougainvillea, it's Mexican petunia, hibiscus, got a little foxtail palm. This cranberry hibiscus, even though it was covered, is not happy, but fast grower. So this variegated hibiscus, though, I'm really surprised. Huh. Top of that one and those. The birds of paradise, the big ones, look pretty good this year. Not really sure. Maybe they're just bigger and stronger. I covered up this whole lemon tree because I could, and I'm glad I did. Glad I did. There's that little cranberry hibiscus back there that I just stuck the stick in the ground. He's fine under there. When I pulled it off, the flowers from this tea Oliver, I mean, they smell like, I think they smell like peach ice cream. So they smelled so good when I pulled off the sheet. We have this bougainvillea, got a little bit fried there. But all in all, we did all right. My two least favorite times are when we have a tropical storm, hurricane, or strong winds in general, and when we have freezes. That makes plant mamas unhappy, right, John and Bon? And say our pools were frozen, but we're so spoiled they came and put warm water in our pool for us so we could warm up that day. I bet you're happy today's warmer. Yeah. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Cutie pies. That bougainvillea did pretty good over there. The avocado tree looks decent too. So the weeping bottle brush, those are pretty hardy. There's a big bottle brush right there too. And it's happy. It even still has flowers up there. Just like the weeping bottle brush has flowers. Look up there. It's way up high. Oh, isn't that funny? You gotta give your plants friends they can rely on. Now, a lot of people that live not up north, but in the in the Carolinas area and stuff like that, they think they can't have any bougainvillea because it is a tropical plant. And this is in a pot and it did okay, but here's the point, is that you can put it in a nice big pot like this and wheel it inside, and you can keep it smaller too. I keep this one trimmed, or you can put a little thin trellis for it to go up on and still be able to take it in for the winter. Now, these will not bloom unless they're in the sun. So the ones that I have that get too much shade, the only flowers they get is the part that gets a lot of sun. So if it doesn't get that, you will not have flowers. But at least you can save it through the winter in a planter, and you can have a bougainvillea too. Yes, you can. But all in all, it ended up being 5 nights they were covered. That's a really long stint of cold for Central Florida.